present about wastewater treatment and sanitation in Rwanda. I will start with wastewater treatment, and then the next will be sanitation in Rwanda. So let's start with my presentation. Uh, Wastewater treatment in Rwanda, as I said, will be the first part. Mm, First, we are going to see what is wastewater treatment. Wastewater treatment is a process to convert any wastewater which is no longer needed or suitable for its most recent use. Like we treat wastewater to return it to or to recycle with minimum environmental issue, like discharged back into the environment or reused. It's formed by a number of activities, including this is the activities which cause or which makes some wastewater to occur. Some activities include bathing, washing, using the toilets, and rainwater runoff. Wastewater is full of contaminants. It includes bacteria, some pathogens. Some are harmful pathogens, but there are also other pathogens which are not harmful. Uh, I'm going to try to quick because I was a little bit late. There are two waste treatment processes, namely chemical plant and biological wastewater treatment plant. So here in Rwanda, we have both physical treatment plant and biological wastewater treatment plant. Physical treatment plant is usually held by public institutions led by the government of Rwanda. But here, some hotels and restaurants, they have, many of them have biological wastewater treatment. Biological wastewater treatment plants use biological matters and bacteria to break down wastewater matter. Wastewater. Physical waste treatment plants use chemical reactions as well as physical processes to treat wastewater. And we have different types of wastewater. Wastewater includes mainly three types: stormwater, runoff, and industrial wastewater and domestic wastewater. But in my presentation, I will mainly focus on domestic wastewater, which includes grey water, black water. In grey water, we include grey water. These are the wastewater from like bathroom, laundry, or chicken. While black water is the combination of urine and feces. In this diagram, they did not show a component all parts of all components of black water. Black water consists of urine, feces, cleaning materials like toilet paper or using water or the fresh water. As I said in this presentation, I will deal with black water and grey water treatment in Rwanda. As I said, black water is the combination or originates from toilet fixtures like feces, urine, fresh water, and cleansing materials such as toilet paper. Gray water, these are engineering terms like gray water, black water. Gray water, this is the wastewater that originates from bathroom, laundry machines, and so on. And we also have other like brown water, which is only the combination of water and feces. Next, we are going to see the general steps of wastewater treatment processes carried out in Rwanda. These steps I'm going to outline here are the most treatment processes which are carried out here in Rwanda. And I visited many treatment plants here in Rwanda, like the treatment plant in Seashka. Seashka is the University Hospital of Kigali. It's the preferred hospital in Rwanda. I also visited other different treatment processes to see how they occur in different hotels here in Rwanda. So many of them they use these points I'm going to outline here. So the general steps of wastewater treatment processes carried out here in Rwanda are First, it's a wastewater correction. This is the first step in wastewater treatment. Correction systems are put in place by municipal administration, homeowners, as well as business owners to ensure that all the wastewater is corrected and directed to a central point. The second point is odor control. At the treatment plant, odor control is very important. Wastewater contains a lot of dirty substances, as you know, from its term wastewater, that cause a full smell over time. To ensure that the surrounding area are free of the full smell, odor treatment processes are initiated at the treatment plants. This odor control, the main uh, purpose or the main aim of odor control is to reduce the bad smell from wastewater. The third point, which is very important, is the treatment. As you can see, these images, I took it by my own phone. It's the treatment plant from CH Hospital. So these are the screens. As you can see, we have different types of screen depending on their sizes. This is the next step. Screening is the next step in wastewater treatment process. Screening involves the removal of large objects, for example, cotton buds, plastics, rags, gloves, pads, and sanitary items, etc. So failure to observe this step results in constant machine and equipment problems. So specially designed equipment is used to get a line of grit that is usually washed down into the sewer lines by rainwater. The solid waste removed from the wastewater retained after screening process are then collected and transported by the protected worker and disposed of in landfill. Also, in Rwanda, Remy talked about read about landfills. Landfills are in Rwanda. Most of Rwanda, except one landfill which is designed by engineering measures, but in Rwanda we have almost it's not landfills, dump sites. Then the first step is the primary treatment. The first step is primary treatment. Sorry, I was in my internet was a bit unstable, but right now I think you can hear me. Uh, Primary treatment. This is the pipe which collects all wastewater from the old toilets inside the CH hospital, and it transports or are transmitted to this tank. This process involves the separation of microbiotic solid matter from the wastewater. Primary treatment is done by pouring the wastewater into a big tanks. Air is first pumped into huge aeration tanks, which mix the wastewater with the seed slag, which is basically a small amount of slag. Uh, and the growth of other small microorganisms that consume the remaining organic matter. The remaining water is then pumped to the secondary treatments. So we see the secondary treatment here. Yeah. So you can see this is the first treatment. And this is as you can see, the red thing is the aeration chamber. Wastewater from all toilets, as all the toilets of like in general, let's say in general, are transported through pipes. Then these photos I took it from that Serka hospital, but as I can say, these steps are followed by many treatment plants here in Rwanda in different, but are not the sewage systems in Rwanda are not many. They cannot, especially in Kigali City as well, they cannot really see the like 11. So the wastewater from all toilets are transported through pipes, then enter into channels that contain screens. The water This is the aeration chamber. The, this is how it looks when aerator is rotating. It rotates 30 minutes, but it is this aeration chamber. It rotates 30 minutes and stops another 30 minutes. But it is sometimes rotates more. It depends on how they set it. It works regularly. You can set it to work like 1 hour rotating and stops another 1 hour. It depends on how you want. This avoids the bad smell as well. This is the secondary treatment, which is below the first treatment. Also, the secondary treatment also is known as activated sludge process. The secondary treatment stages involve adding seed slag to the wastewater to ensure that it is broken down further for the solid matter to settle at the surface of the tank. Like they add coagulations. Uh, The sludge or the solid waste that settles at the surface of the tank is removed by large scrapers and is pushed to the center of the cylindrical tanks and later pumped out of the tanks for further treatment. This process leads to the production of large particles that settle down at the bottom of the huge tanks. The wastewater passes through the large tanks for a period of 3 to 4 hours. Sorry, 3 to 6 hours. This is how it looks. The sediments step down in the region in front of the teeth. These are as you can see, the small teeth. So the cone-shaped tank, you can see it is surrounded by small teeth. And the wastewater that does not contain any particle passes through the teeth and goes behind, and there is the pipe exists through the pipe. The sixth step is this fiction. This fiction is the addition of chemicals to kill the bacteria. In short, the meaning of this fiction. This fiction. After the primary treatment stage and second treatment stage, there are still some diseases causing organisms in the remaining treated wastewater. That's the reason the sixth step is to kill the remaining bacteria or pathogens in the water before it is transmitted or it is transmitted through the environment. This is the path, the wastewater that lives in the sedimentation chamber passes through this channel. This is a channel through, and they put 8 antibiotics of chlorine that kills some pathogens. This channel, the water that passes through the small teeth pass through this channel to the Nyabugogo River, but they make sure before letting this water into the Nyabarongo River, they are not harm to the environment because Nyabarongo River, water from Nyabarongo River are used by many Rwandans in their agriculture. They use them in agriculture uh, activities like irrigation and among others. The final step is sludge treatment. As you see, the sludge from the that treated wastewater. This sludge is produced and collected during the primary and secondary treatment processes. Requires concentration and thickening to enable further processing. It is put into thickening tanks and allows it to settle down at a later separates from the water. The, this the, they we have we collect this sludge from the treatment plant and we treat it. We have like this post treatment of this sludge before it is used as soil conditioners so that it can increase the yield of farmers. This is the tank where sludge is stored. It looks as green, but this is the sludge. as it is where they apply thickening to spread sludge and the water. Also, you can see it is exposed outside, so even it evaporates due to the heat from the sunshine. Then the sanitation vehicle and that transports waste usually come every month and take away the sludge from the septic tank, and this sludge is being used for agricultural purposes such as soil conditioners, as I said. Waste, Wastewater treatment has a number of benefits, as I can say. For example, treatment ensures that the environment is kept clean, which is the first step. The first step, the importance or the benefits of waste. In short, the wastewater treatment has a number of benefits, but few of that benefits. The first one is protection of human health, and the next is to ensure environment is kept clean or protection of environmental health. That's the main benefits from wastewater treatment. The next part, I'm trying to hurry uh, because I don't want to take much of your time. The next part of my presentation is sanitation in Rwanda, which is most I like or I enjoy sanitation much because it involves some designs and I like design of sanitation systems and technologies. Let's think of sanitation as the prevention of human contact with waste, or as the provision of facilities and services for the safe disposal of human feces and urine. Here in Rwanda, yeah, the UNICEF, Un- UNICEF provided some facilities for the safe disposal of human feces and urine to the some citizens of Rwanda in different districts of the Rwanda. Basic sanitation that means that every household has its own toilet and does not share it with another household. This toilet should also keep human waste out of contact with people. Here in Rwanda, only 64% of the population in Rwanda have access to these sanitation services. So only 64% of the whole population of Rwanda have access to these sanitation services. We can say that 64% of Rwandans only access appropriate sanitation in Rwanda. Um, in this part, I will be exploring some of the issues and challenges in urban sanitation, what makes urban sanitation so different and more complex than rural context in Rwanda. So I'm going to see what makes difference between urban sanitation and rural sanitation in a few words. Let's take a look. This is a toilet. This image is a toilet in urban area. So you can see how it is sanitary with poor sanitary facilities like this is a pit right. You can see it is not healthy to the humans or to the people that which use it. It is poor sanitary facilities and it is unsanitary environment and informal or that toilet is informal or unhygienic toilet inputting or open defecation. So what can be, we are going to see what can be done to end this, I can say this generation or this, to end open defecation and open such types of poor sanitary facilities in Rwanda. Uh, I will highlight the different components and functional groups. Here, I'm going to highlight functional groups which that are used in Rwanda to achieve good sanitation facilities or to achieve appropriate sanitation in Rwanda. First, the user interface or poor flush toilet. User interface are like the people using the facilities or poor flush toilets, the safe storage of human waste followed by mechanical inputting of the sludge or conveyance by the trucks and self-recollected vehicle slides, then brought the treatment sites for the sludge brought the treatment sites for to treat it and so that we can recover the resources from that's right, like manure or for soil conditioner. The safe reuse in urban agriculture as well as soil conditioner. The value chain allows for a realistic assessment of a range of sanitation options and solutions and its technical and managerial implications. Sanitation planning. We are going to see some steps of planning in Rwanda. Planning of sanitation in Rwanda, which is sanitation planning in Rwanda. I'm specifically going to look at the household domain and the community domain. The area and settings where most people read their lives. Um, this I'm going. Sorry. The most difficult context to deal with are undoubtedly the rapid expanding of urban areas surrounding the Kigali. In Kigali City, we have rapid expanding urban areas surrounding the whole city of Kigali, and they are unsettled. They are an informal settlement, and the informal settlement found in Rwanda. I'm going to see the informal settlements found in Rwanda. These unplanned areas, as I said, are not only poor access to developed services, they also exhibit dysfunctional institutions where services are hardly reached. The focus of the Rwanda government is like to end the the first focus of the Rwanda government is to end open defecation in the whole country, even in rural areas, and also is igniting a change in sanitation behavior rather than constructing a lot of toilets. So that the first step is to put, as I said, an end to the open defecation. It starts by enabling people to do their own sanitation process through appraisal, the observation and the analysis of their practices of open defecation and the effects that these have on their lives. So I can say the main target of the government of Rwanda, or as all Rwandans, is to end the open defecation. Here in Rwanda, open defecation in toilets is often not the main issue. Rather, it's a safe handling of human waste. Uh, I can say Rwanda the goal of end defecation by encouraging through an analysis of the practices of open or open sharing, teaching them how bad it is, so that all people, all the citizens of Rwanda can know the bad impacts of open defecation cause the water bodies or other can cause other diseases like cholera and among others. As I said, here in Rwanda, open defecation and toilet access is often not the main issue. Rather, it's safe handling of human waste. Urban sanitation is hugely expensive and must take in an integrated approach, including issues like stormwater drainage. As I said, this is also the wastewater, grey water, or solid waste management to be effective. Urban sanitation it is not only in Kigali City, in the whole cities of the world, urban sanitation is complex than in rural areas. In Kigali, we need to think about water treatment, solid waste treatment, fecal sludge disposal, what happens with grey water, what about the water supply in these dense urban areas of Kigali. These are all the points we think in for when we are going to plan for urban sanitation in a city like Kigali. So here I suggested the 7 planning steps to be considered in planning of a sanitation system in urban areas like Kigali City or like your city like Atlanta, Texas, and among other cities of the world like Geneva. And the first step I can propose like process ignition and demand creation. The second, launch of planning processes, like you first plan all the processes. Third, detailed assessment of the current situation. Fourth, prioritization of community problems and validation. Fifth, identification of service options. Develop numbers. The sixth step development, the sixth planning step, the development of an action plan, as you set up action plan and you do its development, and the last step is the implementation of the action plan. All these steps must include the communities so that you hear the ideas of the people. You first hear through the planning process. You hear the what people think about the sanitation that is going to be implemented in their city. Um, and communication, of course, throughout, as I was saying, must include communities. You communicate every time. And the importance of cultural appropriate forms of communication between community process leaders, local government, and other different actors involved in providing the sanitation services and ensuring the transparency of the process. Sanitation products. As we know, we are sanitation products are very many. Different liquids and solids going to and out of sanitation system like filter trains or septic tanks. And there are a lot of products besides urine and feces such as biogas, humus, compost, and among others. All these products need to be considered. And some of these products need treatment. Yeah. The volume of each product will greatly influence how it is transported and treated within the sanitation system. The range and types of the products in sanitation system will determine the number and sequence of technology that will be needed in the final design. And some of like humus or compost needs the post-treatment, or you treat it so it can sanitation products can can vary at large numbers. Like in Simba, we have many sanitation products, and some are very important to people, and they use it to produce goods and services like this of biogas. Biogas, as you can use it in cooking, and it can be important to the community. As I said, we were in Rwanda, we have some sanitation functions. We have five function groups. User interface, like trade. User interface the involves the facilities like dry toilets, poor flush toilets, instant flush toilets. The second functional group is collection and storage. Example, single pit or septic tank, etc. We have so many other conveyance or transport. We have trucks which are categorized as motorized importing and transport, simplified sewer, as the one I was presenting of CH in wastewater treatment plants of CHK. We have also semi-centralized or centralized treatment. Example, waste stabilization pond, um, aerated filter. We have lagoons. Yeah, it is. We have, and in the final functional group, we have reuse and final disposal. Example, irrigation or soak pit for it to allow infiltration as well. This image, this image here summarizes the five functions. Uh, as I said, we can see starting from the use of interactions, the ways, the conveyance, collection and storage, like the septic tank, conveyances, the truck. You can see the truck, the truck transports the sludge from the pit or septic tank to the heated and final the user or final disposal of the so which is usually the user or final disposal. This is usually good for soil conditioners. or urine for fertilizers. In Rwanda, we built our sanitation system using technology from 5 different faction groups, and each faction group has different technologies from each other. But it is not necessary every system requires a technology from each functional group, like user interface. It needs, if there is no like technology for using for the one group of user interface. The dense urban area in Kigali are complex, as I said, as such, there is no strict formula for the designing of them, but we can use function groups to organize and plan an appropriate system based on the products and technology that we have available in Rwanda. I can conclude, as you can see my conclusion, wastewater treatment is one of the most important environmental conservation process that should be encouraged worldwide because uh, when we treat wastewater, we get more benefits from it, like the protection of human health, the protection of environment, and among others. So the sanitation system of template is like a matrix of products and functional groups. Technology is selected by following flow path and that guide each product through the necessary functional groups. I can say, and here in Rwanda, in order to achieve effective sanitation in Rwanda, we must carry out research into appropriate technologies aiming at large-scale transition from traditional to hygienic latrines at low cost to household, and also developing private sector involvement in on-site sanitation like latrine, septic tank, septic trucks, and safe dumping. Thank you so much for joining my presentation, and once again, I'm really so sorry for being late. It was due to my technical issue. I'm really so sorry for that. This was my presentation on wastewater treatment and sanitation in Rwanda. I really appreciate for your patience. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Alex. So Costco, I'll turn it over to you as moderator to just engage us for questions.
Okay. I saw someone asked, how has COVID affected, your movement as far as the water treatment and sanitation goes? Has it had an adverse effect on the things you're trying to get accomplished?
Thank you for your questions, Mr. Jones. COVID affected many things here in Rwanda, not only on sanitation and wastewater treatment, but also on transport and the economy of the country. Yeah, we were having one project which was wastewater treatment in Musanze district, but we started in last year in November. The implementation of the project was in March and Feb and March this year. But due to the government closed all the things related to engineering, like construction of any engineering project, all the activities that include the meeting or the collaboration of many people face to face, they were not allowed here in Rwanda. But due to that, we were not able to do that project in time, and still we are planning it right now. Yet the implementation was in March, so the COVID really affected us in different ways, even in fundings where we were we were planning to get some funding from different organizations, but due to COVID, really, our work was not, even until now, we are not to do different works in Rwanda. So we were affected by COVID-19 and the field of sanitation and wastewater treatment. In general, we are not able to construct sanitation facilities in Rwanda like we used to do. So because it involves the community, so which is not allowed to involve many people in a single place or to do face to face. Even schools reopened it on 19th this month. So, but things are still are going well in these days. So we hope we resume our activities about sanitation and wastewater.
Have you looked at biodigesters for rural wastewater systems?
Do you have biodigestor here in Rwanda? In rural areas?
Yes. Someone asked, have you looked at using biodigesters in rural Rwanda?
Probably, but in rural areas, all these in Rwanda, rural areas are still behind for the wastewater treatment. Uh, they only consider all these steps are in Kigali City and even in like in Musanze, this way is a bit advanced. But in rural areas, honestly, they apply for sedimentation process like due to the gravity settling of large debris or large particles, and they move on floating materials or particles. Yeah, in the rural areas where they don't have any biodigester. So these all steps are played in the Kigali city, in the city of Kigali, and also in Musanze, because we have it is advancing. It is the second city to Kigali city, but for the only steps are for areas like sedimentation, and they allow wastewater. They collect wastewater in a big tank and allow it to settle. So and the large particles they thinking they to be at the bottom of the tank. So and they remove the community removes the floating particles on the top of that sedimentation tank. So there is no other there are no other treatment steps or methods that are done in rural areas of Rwanda. Thank you. But I will do more about it, but that's what I know.
So remember part of your presentation, you were saying that the actual residents have some roles to play and the sanitation, especially with I think you were saying something about when the fecal sledge fills up, that they would have to move that and take that to certain places. But can you explain more how the actual residents play a role in the wastewater treatment and the sanitation?
Okay. Thank you for asking that good questions. Uh, Residents apply they like before you plan like organizational companies or government officials or corporate institutions, they want to apply certain project in a community in a certain area. So they do the survey, a short survey. They ask the community leaders or some communities near where the project will be implemented, how they see they understand their ideas. So like here in Rwanda, many projects related to sanitation or wastewater treatment that will be affected by many people or many a large group of people. The government design it and they show they to the community
I'm guessing his
Did we lose
internet
him?
went out. Yeah, I think so.
So can you hear me now?
Okay, there we go.
He is.
Okay, Jones, I was saying, sorry, the internet was interrupted. I was, I was saying, right, before the government or public institution here in Rwanda, when it is going to plan for a sanitation facility or let's say public toilets or anything else that will affect the large community of people, the government will uh, first plan it and show it to the community leaders. They take a survey. They hear the ideas of the community, and they allow the community to take a part in the implementations. The first the first people they give the job, like in the film implementation, are the community members in that area. After the after the after the implementation, the whole project are left by in hands of the community leaders, so that it will be controlled by the community leaders, and also it will be beneficial to the whole community. But the the main and important steps to do the operations of the treatment plants or sanitation facilities will be done by the communities, especially for on behalf of their benefits. So if the government or the public institutions finishes its work, the whole hand the whole hand are left in the whole power on the facilities or the treatment operation are in the hands of the communities. So especially the community leaders. That's how the system here works in Rwanda. Thank you.
Do you ever use ultraviolet water treatment methods as part of your process?
As part of the process, like how?
I was asking about ultraviolet light used as a wastewater treatment after the second treatment. You know, when you get all of the sediment and all of the fecal out there, and it's just the pathogens or whatnot. Looking at the the ultraviolet light water treatment method. I was wondering if you use that at all out there. I didn't hear you talk about it in the presentation, so I was just curious.
Okay. Thank you for your questions. After the secondary treatment, the water are not used by the communities or are not used by people again, but they flow into a certain watershed, so to into a river, so that it can be used for irrigation. But after passing through different ways to treat it. For example, as well as after the secondary treatment, before water leaves the treatment plant, they add chlorine disinfection to kill any remaining pathogens, to kill any harmful pathogens before water are released out of the treatment plant. And many treatment plants, they after water leaving, they pass through and they add some chlorine to kill any remaining pathogens or any harmful pathogens, and later they release or they allow the water to go out of the treatment plant and into a certain flow path or watershed into a river. That water, after travel or after wrong way, they can be used for irrigation purposes. But people are not, they cannot use it the water after the secondary treatment in Rwanda. As I can say, by concluding with to your question, to your current questions, water are not used by people or by communities after the second treatment.
All right. Well, I guess we're gonna wrap up the questions there. Alex, thank you so much for coming in and giving that great presentation, fighting through all of the technical difficulties. Thank you for everyone in the class. We have another session that actually started 8 minutes ago, dealing with Ghana agriculture. It started at 11. So everyone is welcome to head over there. Thank you for coming out to the summit. And I'll see you all tonight in the mixer and some more sessions.
Thank you so much,
Alex.
Mr. John. Thank you. But as I can conclude, Rwanda is partnering with different organizations, and we are at the end of this year we will reconstruct a big wastewater treatment plant so that all the water from wastewater treatment plants in Kigali will be recycled and reused again for, as the last question that Mr. Jones asked me, and again will be reused and recycled and will be reused again by the community. That is the part of resource recovery for the all Rwandans. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us this year at the summit. We'll hope to chat with you some more during the other sessions. I know it's before it gets too late over there.
Yeah, I'm always available.
Okay. Thank you, Casco.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, my moderator, John.